10 years ago, two men in different countries promised to change politics forever. In India, a former bureaucrat in his signature muffler and cap vowed to cleanse the system of corruption. In Pakistan, a former uh, cricket star, rallied the nation under the banner of Naya Pakistan, New Pakistan. Arvind Kejriwal and Imran Khan, both outsiders, both disruptors, and both backed, at least initially, by powerful forces that later abandoned them. But today, both men stand at a crossroads. Kejriwal, once a darling of the middle class, has seen his party suffer a major electoral setback. Imran Khan, once hailed as Pakistan's great hope, is behind bars. His party dismantled by the very establishment that once propped him up. Hello and welcome to Unraveled with Marvi Sirmed. Our focus today is the politics of these two men, Kejriwal and Imran Khan, played in India and Pakistan almost in parallel. How their journeys compare, what went wrong, was their downfall a product of their own political miscalculations, or was it inevitable in systems that leave little room for true outsiders? And most importantly, does this mark the end of alternative politics in India and Pakistan, or just the beginning of a new chapter? To help us unpack this, we are joined by senior journalist Rohinee Singh, who has extensively covered Indian politics and Aam Aadmi Party's trajectory, especially. We will discuss the rise and fall of Aam Aadmi Party, its ideological shifts, and whether Kejriwal's journey parallels that of Imran Khan in Pakistan. Welcome, Rohini.
Thank you.
So let's start with both Arvind Kejriwal and Imran Khan. They emerged as challengers to the traditional politics, riding on anti-corruption, crusade. While Kejriwal built his political career through the anti-corruption movement in 2011, Imran Khan's rise, on the other hand, was accelerated with the backing of Pakistan's powerful military establishment. But while Imran made it to the Prime Minister's office, Kejriwal remains confined to, Delhi, the city administration, so to speak, and Punjab. Was this simply a function of different political systems, or did Kejriwal lack the institutional leverage and, mass appeal or whatnot? What do you think about it?
There is a little what you put it out very beautifully, drawing that parallel between Kejriwal and Imran Khan. So AK and IK, as we kind of always say. Kejriwal, as you said, Kejriwal, Imran Khan came to power at the center. In Delhi or in India, it was different. There was a
Hmm.
Congress government in power which was marred with corruption.
Hmm.
BJP, the other party, was also, its leaders, its members were at various levels were facing charges of corruption at all levels. At states where they were in power, even in center, their own party chief Bangaru Lakshman was facing severe charges of corruption. So the BJP and the Congress, none of them were clean. So that is where Kejriwal got this window. And with Delhi being that time, Delhi was going to polls, and the state elections were the general election was still
Hmm.
2 years away from there. So that
Hmm.
is when so that was the space that Kejriwal got, or that was given to Kejriwal, because you have to understand that Kejriwal. The rise of Kejriwal was a moment against corruption. This whole
Hmm.
campaign that took place, India against corruption. It was
Hmm.
initially a civil society campaign where even the left had joined, other independent political groups had also, had extended support to the movement. So it was from there that Kejriwal rose and he was identified. As you said, Imran Khan was a creation of a deep state in Pakistan. To call it a deep state in India would not be the appropriate term, but yes, he had that unofficial backing from the RSS, the
Hmm.
ideological mentors of the BJP, because
Hmm.
they were also looking for an alternate, a plan B for themselves, because they knew that they were not going to win the election with Mr. Redwani at the helm.
Yes, at
Because there was
that
a
time.
credibility loss in the BJP itself.
Hmm.
So that's where they were looking for an alternate. And RSS has always worked like that.
mm,
They have never, till the 1980s, they were never a political party. They had members in the Congress, they had members in other political parties. That's even the Janta Jansangh. So that's how the RSS functioned till the time they got 72 seats first, and then
mm,
72 seats later. That's when they realized that they could be a full-fledged political party of their own. So this
mm,
game, or this knack of grooming people, or you
mm,
know uh, grooming and giving funding to the people to make them stand, to give them that
mm,
platform. This RSS knew very well, and that's where they identified Kejriwal, and that's how Kejriwal came into being. And all this was very well for him for the next 1.5 year, till the time the Congress BJP realized that there was a Narendra Modi. So this man was announced in the BJP meeting in Goa in 2013, where he was announced as the chief prime minister candidate. So that's
mm,
when the RSS pulled its hands back from Kejriwal. And by the
mm,
time he could win Delhi, and that's why we see that beyond Delhi, the only place where he could make his mark was Punjab, because that's a state which has rejected the BJP RSS style of politics. The rest of the
mm.
country, he could never, fit in, or he could
Yeah.
never build that ground. All this, he was, if had RSS been his support, then it was the RSS cadre which would have helped him. So that
Mm,
was lost, and so Kejriwal was left to fend for himself, and that's what we see him today. At least Mr. Imran Khan Kejriwal could complete 2 terms and expose himself. Imran
yeah.
Khan never got that opportunity to complete his 2 terms or whatever his term. So I think there is more sympathy in Pakistan towards him in general, but of course Kejriwal has lost.
Uh, don't you think, like Imran Khan relied solely on, the pompous religiosity, religious nationalism, a very populist rhetoric? There was no emphasis, there was no focus, and even inkling of the policy, the governance proposals, the social welfare on which Kejriwal seems to have ridden on, and his some kind of reforms in education sector, health sector, some social safety nets that he has left as his legacy. You don't see that with Imran Khan. So don't you think that might have been, solely depending on the hollow rhetoric, populist rhetoric? That might be the difference between the two.
Not really,
Hmm.
uh, to say, because Kejriwal started off like that,
Yeah.
as a leader of the mass of the Aam Aadmi. But soon, in fact, when he went to take his oath for the first time as the chief minister, he used the Delhi metro to go to the venue, and not
Hmm.
his own vehicle or not the government vehicle. But
Hmm.
everything just vanished when the first assembly met. He
Hmm.
had said that his people who had houses in Delhi would not get government accommodations. He would travel in his own car. He will not take the VIP security and things, so on and so forth. But the
Hmm.
very next day, you are in power, everything is gone. He when we were reeling COVID, there were reports that he was busy buying curtains and carpets for his house. So this
Hmm.
election, you see, the BJP targeted him for Shish Mahal, his house, where he spent about 30-40 crores to do it out. So to
Yeah.
say that he started as a commoner and and the people of the mass is correct, but then he ended up being like any other
Yeah.
politician. And the welfare schemes that you just mentioned, again, the point to mention, see, there has to be a futuristic approach to it. You
Hmm.
make 5 good schools, but then what
Hmm.
next? It cannot be a piecemeal
That's
standalone
true.
model.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you making mohalla clinics, but then your
Hmm.
mohalla clinics is not has not has the does not has the power. The doctor sitting there has no authority to refer him to a bigger hospital. So
Yeah.
it's only cold cough. That's what gets treated, and half the time there were no doctors, or people
Hmm.
didn't find the right medicine. So a lot of it was optics,
Yeah.
good management, good promotion, good PR that he did. Vis-a-vis, had it really been good work,
Hmm.
then he would have got the third term. I mean, for the chief minister to he defeated Sheila Dikshit from New Delhi. 10 years later, he's defeated from the same seat.
Hmm.
So he himself has lost his there's a complete loss of his credibility. So had this again, as you mentioned, education, health, or social security, everything is very populist and very optic, and it's just what you see. But if it was really affecting people that much, probably he would have got the third term.
That's right. Absolutely. I agree. I was just thinking in terms of, for example, because I have covered Imran Khan for like ever since he started politics in 1996. Uh, so I know for a fact that his party did not have any idea about governance. They were total outsiders. Unlike Kejriwal, Imran Khan has never been part of any statescraft. He had not done a job
Hmm.
for a moment in his life. Not a single job. He has not worked at all. He has not been part of any discipline, working discipline. He doesn't have a workplace. He has played cricket. And after that, he became prime minister. So, his coterie were also outsiders. Most of them
Hmm.
were the first time entrants in politics, and they were business people, they were rich people, uh, business people, and from different walks of life. Some of them were like very young, youth, freshly out of college. So you don't see in his politics, you don't see any planning for the policy or even policy proposals uh, focused on governance or health, education, services, or even the social safety nets or social welfare schemes. The only social welfare scheme that is on his credit is called ESAS, which was it was an careful editing and expansion of the already existing Benazir income support program. So it was not even that was his. He was just building on someone else's schemes. So he didn't leave any legacy of governance. He didn't leave any legacy of any social welfare, anything. Uh, that is why he could not even complete 4 years. It was shy of a few months shy of 4 years. He
Hmm.
was, toppled. But on the other hand, I completely understand quite informative articles that you have written also. uh, Kejriwal, he spent 10 years in power, almost 10 years in power. And then his the facade of the populist rhetoric that he had created started sort of, withering off. Because it withers off. Populism
Yes.
is, whether left-wing populism or right-wing populism, it
So
just ends with
anti-incumbency gets
power.
to play, no? Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
a wise man once said that the best way to get rid of a populist is to give him the power, give him the government, and that will wither them off. And that's what happened with Kejriwal because he didn't have any legs to stand on. He just had populists, but he had some, even if for optics, he did something. That is why he won second election, but by the time of the third election, people knew it's all fraud. So people
Absolutely, yeah.
just, so that's, I think that is the difference between, slight difference, but there's the difference between these two, that Imran Khan and his coterie were totally devoid of any sense of governance. What do you say?
So, yeah, agreed. That's as you said, you give him 10 years and he'll expose himself. So you don't
Yeah,
have to do anything. So he
yeah,
automatically got exposed. Nobody had to really work hard to do that.
yeah,
You had done enough damage, to yourself for people to, pick that up and say that no, this is not the same guy. So, but
yeah.
as you said, you mentioned about that experience or an outsider. As you said, I was just recall. When Kejriwal, though he comes from
Civil
he
service, I
served
think.
in, civil services. He was an IRS and he worked there. His wife also. But
Mm.
when he came to power and when he became the chief minister of Delhi, he made working so difficult for everyone, including reporters. The
Wow.
journalists that he would love. Suddenly, there was a time where journalists were not allowed. We were like pass holders. We had those press passes, which gave us access to the secretariat, but we weren't allowed for reasons because Kejriwal had some issues with some news channel, and that's when we would remember that the previous chief minister was so accessible that she could meet her in the corridor. You send your card across. She will call you in the office if she's free. You call her in the evening. If she's not there, she will call you back. So that was the kind of difference. And then Kejriwal, he came from the services, but he had
Mm.
problem with every officer who was working in his office. He would
Hmm.
he would keep complaining every time that this is not my man, this is not my man, this is the BJP guy, the LG doesn't let me work. So it's the same when Sheila Dikshit became that's the immediate comparison we could do, because that was Delhi has been the state.
Yeah.
It's not it doesn't have a long history of having chief ministers. Sheila Dikshit worked with Atal Bihari Vajpayee at the center and got things done, because Delhi works differently. Delhi cannot work without the involvement of the center. You have to keep the center in loop for a lot of things like land, governance, law and order. Center and state have to work together. Sheila Dikshit
Yeah.
did that. And with Atal
Should,
Bihari Vajpayee.
I think there should be a master class for Pakistan's chief minister as well. How she, I mean, she was very effective in on
Hmm.
governance, even in welfare schemes, and she was not, she was not delivering them like Prime Minister Modi says, reveries. These were not
No.
freebies. It was a,
In fact, interestingly, in Sheila's time also, they would give this power subsidy of what Kejriwal said ki muft hai, but that money would directly go to the discoms and people never realized ki they were getting this subsidy.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that same thing was repackaged and told
exactly.
you ki we are giving you subsidy. So wo subsidy was on, there was some regular, he must have made changes, he must have tried to pull the rates down, but the
Mm.
fact that this the same again, it was repackaging of something that was already there in the previous government. And Sheila Dikshit, it was not that everyone in the center when Congress was in power was happy with Sheila's style of working. Every politician has his own, there are people within his own party who might not like you, would not like you to excel. So despite all that, she would get things done. What Delhi we see today is the flyovers, the metro, the city infrastructure. What you see today is everything that we whether we like it or not, whether we hate the Congress, whether we might
Mm.
have our own differences with Sheila Dikshit, but we have to agree that it was she who gave this to us. For
That's
Kejriwal, if we look, 10 years, what has there's not a single flyover which we can say, this is an
yeah.
Aam Aadmi Party thing or a Kejriwal government thing that we've got. So
Yeah,
that's
so
the difference.
infrastructure didn't. Yeah. And
Nothing
also
happened.
another thing that Sheila Dikshit did, if I remember correctly, actually I remember quite clearly that this happened in Delhi, that it was yeah, during Sheila Dikshit. She started creating those green havens with at different places in Delhi, where there will be vegetation among the traffic, among all that pollution. They would suddenly you will feel there is an island of greenery, so
Hmm.
green patches throughout Delhi. And that really this was so I read this in one of the climate change papers. Someone from India wrote that, and it was fascinating. And also that another experiment of the odd number cars will one day will be odd number cars and the other day will be, I
This
think that
was this was the Kejriwal's thing when we were
Kejriwal's. But
really
that was
because
also, I don't know
yes.
how people's experience is in Delhi for that. That seems to be a good idea, but it didn't work in Pakistan, I think.
No,
It,
even here,
uh,
again, you can't have piecemeal approach toward things.
yeah,
It's like a Delhi car cannot fly the same vehicle when it moves out of Delhi. Delhi, peripheral Delhi. There are three states that touch that surrounds
yeah,
Delhi. So where I'm sitting today is like 20 minutes from Delhi, but the state is UP, or the other end you will enter Haryana. So you cannot have Delhi mein you cannot enter the from
yeah,
into Delhi, but the same cars are flying in Haryana or the same cars are applying
yeah.
in. So
There's
does
so
it make
many,
a difference? And then
exact,
just stopping cars
should
and
have been
people
thought
is not
about.
to hell. Yes,
Yeah,
and there are there's construction. There is this what do you call thermal plants that still run in operational in Delhi. So those things have to be really looked at instead of just telling people odd even is good, because then traffic on the road gets very easy. But then when you do odd even, you have to have enough number of buses on the street. Your metro connectivity has to improve. The frequency has to improve. So then ultimately people struggle.
so
So
it failed,
nothing can
ultimately it failed even in Delhi.
you can't call it a success. I mean, does it really
uh,
help? Or has Delhi become like, is our air clean enough? Even today, the sky is so gray, irrespective of the fact that there is a full moon. It's still
mm,
hazy. So it doesn't work like that. You do one thing, 10 days you do, and so there has to be a concrete, well thought of plan, which Delhi alone cannot do. It is something that has come from center, Haryana, Punjab, Delhi, UP, all of them have to sit together and do. But the point is that you keep fighting with everyone. You have a problem with Haryana, you have a problem with the center, you have a problem with UP. So you don't do anything. So you just
Yeah.
keep complaining all the time. So he
Yeah.
was the first chief minister who sat on a dharna in his first term.
Hmm.
So your job is not to do dharna. Your job is to get the things done.
Hmm.
I have not chosen a chief. If it was to do a dharna, I would have done it myself. I can go and sit at Jantar Mantar, but I need a chief minister who can find a solution to my problem. So from being an activist to being a chief minister, you had to make that switch. But he remained an activist for a very long time, and suddenly he became like any other politician, like any
Hmm.
other person. So that's where he kind of lost the plot.
Yeah. And in case of Imran Khan, I mean, yes, these schemes, some of these might have failed, some of these were piecemeal, but they were at least, there are schools you can say that they were established by, were started under Kejriwal. But in
Mm-hmm.
Pakistan, no, not one school, not one college, not one hospital, not even one clinic was started by Imran, not one. And the only university that he sort of started was not the government university. That was his own personal trust.
No.
And he got the trust. But in his cases, this is one of the corruption cases
Mm-hmm.
against him. So he gave, favors to, big property tycoon, real estate tycoon, a corrupt one of Pakistan's most corrupt men. So Imran Khan, as prime minister, gave favors to him. And in lieu of that, this property tycoon gave land and constructed university for him. And that university, no one knows, is the university's core idea is to teach spiritualism, Islamic spiritualism. So there's nothing else. So I think his rhetoric was solely on anti-corruption plank and nothing else. Even in that plank, he didn't do much. He was surrounded by the corrupt men. He is notorious in giving favors to these corrupt men in lieu of something. Things will start coming out now that he's in jail. So, do you think it's the same with, or almost the same with Kejriwal?
Of course, just as you say, when Kejriwal came to power, the anti-corruption was his plan, and he
Hmm.
would go around saying in his first election campaign that I will open all the scams against Sheila Dikshit, the Commonwealth scam, and so much to do. That time we were marred with scams, all kinds of scams,
Hmm.
and but nothing happened. The moment he didn't open one, he said we will have a Jan Lokpal, an ombudsman system. His own government with a majority of 62 never passed that bill, the
Hmm.
anti-corruption bill, which was his plan. He was the excise scam, the liquor scam. He was in jail. His half his cabinet was in jail. So to
Hmm.
say that he was really clean, the house that he built, spending 40
Yeah.
crores. Now this BJP guys are saying that no, we will not live in that sheesh mahal. So whatever he has built, please bring it down. So spend
Hmm.
another 20 crores to bring it down and do it again. This is maddening.
Hmm.
So something has been built. Now I cannot live because that's against my fundamentals. So you raise everything down and make me the basic, and then I will again spend my own money. So 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 Kejriwal was to say that he was a clean politician. No, you mentioned about schools. There are schools, colleges in the Delhi universities are aided by the Delhi government. The governing body is selected by the government, and they have the salaries are paid to the professors by the government. They had to fight
Hmm.
with the government for that. So you might build 5 model schools, but what about the existing ones? So he was one amongst them. Just that he got his opportunity to be there. He was at the right time at the right place, and so he made it there. But honestly, he was like any other politician that we have. He is like any other politician that we have.
Yeah. So, another difference that comes to my mind is, I don't know, you will tell, is it a difference or not? That Kejriwal's support by RSS was mostly ideological. Or maybe they might have provided on the on-ground organizational support, maybe, because RSS has a formidable organization at grassroots, so they might have provided support in that, creating party structure, maybe, I don't know, you will tell. But in case of Imran Khan, the support was basically to engineer him as the great leader, manipulate media, manipulate the entire state structure to bring him to power. And that's why Imran Khan and his party did not focus too much on creating party structure and strengthening party structure from the party organization at grassroots. There's none. So I think that was that's one difference that comes to my mind. But you tell if that's a difference or there still is similarity.
Kejriwal was created, as I said, as a plan B. The
Hmm.
RSS thought that if the BJP fails to have the impact in the elections, so they needed somebody to finish the Congress, to counter the Congress. So might as well use him for now, use him, and probably sideline him at an appropriate time.
Hmm.
So that is how Kejriwal was created. Because I remember when we were at the India Against Corruption protest happening, so every day there would be trucks of water bottles coming.
Hmm.
So, out of curiosity, you just try to find out where is this pani coming from every day. So that's how this whole thing unfolded. That ये सब RSS की तरफ से आ रहा है. So that's when we got to know. So though that at that time the stage was being shared by the left leaders also, and there were people from the civil society like Yogendra Yadav, Prashant Bhushan, who were considered to be neutral, liberal. They were, but
Hmm.
then so that's when, and that's how he rose. The Aam Aadmi Party was created, and Kejriwal is as Hindu or as Hindutva as the BJP would be.
Hmm.
Though, and more so, he's an opportunist. He goes to the mandir after coming out from the jail because he wants to prove that he is a Hindu. So again, the same thing. So it was not that he was created. Unlike in Pakistan, it was different here. He was like like a plan B that was created, and he was used. RSS cadre would have helped him had there been no Narendra Modi. But the moment you had a Narendra Modi there was no need for. And he was coming from Gujarat, a prosperous state. Was 3 times chief minister. He had a lot of funds with him coming from the state of Gujarat. So a lot of
Hmm.
problems got solved for the BJP with Mr. Modi coming in. And so after the 2012 elections,
Hmm.
they sidelined him. Had they really supported Kejriwal, he would have probably gone ahead and and done well in other states. So Kejriwal again, I think he was in too much hurry. There was no need for him to contest against Narendra Modi in the 2040 elections in Varanasi. It was your
Hmm.
time to build your base and then move on. 400 seats you are contesting, you end up losing everywhere. So going
Hmm.
state by state, one by one, Punjab was a good choice because Punjab has always rejected the BJP style of politics. But to go and say that we will do Gujarat, they are masters in Gujarat. You cannot
Hmm.
shake them in the kind of cadre they have till the lowest level in the rug, the way BJP functions, the way RSS functions there. It's too hard for you. It has taken them 100 years to be where they are.
Yeah.
RSS. So you can't just overnight, by saying things, same narrative, harping the same narrative again and again. You have to work to build that ground for yourself, which I think he failed. And suddenly after Delhi, he thought, ki, I'll go UP, I'll go Gujarat, I'll go, I'll take Modi head on. So
Hmm.
Modi has a backing which you lack. Modi has the money from Gujarat, from the BJP, from the corporate, which you don't have. No,
Hmm.
you could do crowdfunding in Delhi because Delhi works differently. So that's how he raised initially funds in Delhi. But the same formula didn't work in the other states, the bigger states. Delhi is a city state, easy to
Yeah.
function. You could crowdfund, and that's how he gathered fund. But when he tried to do the same in the other states, it didn't work. That kind of response he didn't get in the other states. So just to again in politics, I look at senior politics. 50 years old is considered to be young in politics, no, because he's
Hmm.
still learning the game. So to
Yeah.
say, and you are going taking head on somebody who's the master of the craft.
Yeah.
So one should not get overconfident and
Hmm.
go slow. I think that's where Kejriwal made his mistake.
Yeah. Uh, what I was thinking was that his support, RSS support, one, was he part of the RSS's, the Shakha, culture, that he was part of that from was he an alumnus of one of RSS's, study circles or anything?
You don't have to be in RSS circle or the Shakha to really get support in the
No,
RSS.
no, that's the,
BJP,
yeah, that's,
huh,
that's, I was
BJP
just,
had members, huh, Like
Yeah.
Sushma Swaraj was not from RSS. Jaswant Singh
Yeah.
was not from RSS.
Yeah.
So RSS works across parties.
So
They
yeah,
will
absolutely.
they will
I
look for.
agree.
So
It's
he
like Tablighi Jamaat in Pakistan. Like they work for, they don't have a
yes,
political party, but they try to penetrate in every party. And
yes, yeah, and they will have members everywhere. Yes,
yeah, everywhere
absolutely.
they
Yeah.
have it. Yeah,
Hmm.
I do understand. I was just curious if he has a formal, participation in RSS when he was young, because I heard someone say in on one of India's TV channels that he was part of RSS when he was young.
Not
So,
that I know of, and neither have I
mhm.
heard of. I mean,
Okay.
so not to my knowledge, at least no. If
Okay.
it was so, we would have got to know, and he would
Yeah.
not have been abandoned in this fashion.
Yeah. So, Imran Khan's campaign, uh, both started in 2011. If I remember correctly, Kejriwal also started,
Hmm.
this Anna Hazare campaign was
Yeah,
in
India against corruption. Yes.
law against corruption. It's the
Hmm.
same Imran Khan, although he started his political party in 1996, but and then he rode on the in 2000, sorry, excuse me, in 2007 when there was this lawyers movement against Pervez Musharraf. So he rode on that and he tried to, get ahead of everyone else in his rhetoric against Musharraf, although he has voted for Musharraf, previously in 2002 when he was eyeing for the slot of the prime minister under Musharraf. It didn't work out. So in 2007, he thought that it's a good way of getting public approval, and so you would see him sitting on TV, every TV channel in the evening, talking against Musharraf and how democratic he himself is, etc. And but his but he couldn't get that political mileage till 2011 when ISI and the military establishment finally decided to considerably support him in getting at least some political mileage. So there was a big jalsa in Lahore 2011. So that way, both Kejriwal and their Imran Khan's journey, the
Hmm.
political journey towards power started almost together. But in Imran Khan's political narrative, rhetoric, we find religious references a lot, a lot. I mean, his speeches start with an ayat, and he
Hmm.
calls Osama bin Laden Shaheed in the parliament,
Hmm.
from on the floor of the parliament. And he has never shied off reclaiming religion and religious nationalism. He has framed himself as the harbinger of against Islamophobia in the Western world. uh,
Hmm.
but in Kejriwal, do you see his I think he's quite smart in the sense that he does not, in his speeches at least, he does not refer to religion as, to Hindutva as much as BJP does. What do you think?
No, of course, Kejriwal is an opportunistic. Imran Khan probably had 2 decades of struggle before he could really get that platform in 2011.
Hmm.
Kejriwal got it in less than a year's time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
initially, when he was building his, he even went to the Jamaat-e-Islamiyah,
Hmm.
seeking their support. So,
Hmm.
so
Oh.
it was the yes, yes, he went to Jamaat Islam, but it was only later, this time he was abandoned by the Muslims for the very reason because it is the Waqf in Delhi comes under the Delhi government. Now these imams in the Waqfs have been waiting for salaries for 2 years now. So this is
Hmm.
the salary that the Delhi government has to give them.
Hmm.
When the
Hmm.
2000 Delhi riots happened, so there he kept quiet.
And
His
his
own
excuse
MA.
is that the center is not releasing money for Delhi.
Of course, that's what he says. And there is enough there. Delhi is a surplus state, budget surplus. If you have 46 crore, 1,000 crores to spend on your publicity budget, but you
Hmm.
don't have money to pay salaries to your aided colleges staff or to these imams in the under your supervision. So likewise,
Hmm.
he then he went to the Jamaat Islam. But when COVID happened, he didn't
Hmm.
speak when this whole Jamaat was being targeted for spreading. COVID in Delhi. He didn't have when the Delhi riots happened. His own minister was involved. He didn't speak for him. There were so many people in jail from the Muslim community. He never spoke for them. He comes out from the jail and he goes to the Hanuman temple. So his true color, he this his election campaign this time was a lot about Hanuman, Ram,
Hmm.
So Ayodhya. So he pitched up, that pitch. In Hindi, there's a very popular saying कि he's messing up with a person, he's trying to be a Hindu, but इसको समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि ये जिससे लड़ रहा है टीका लगा के, वो भस्म लगा के घूम रहा है शरीर में. So,
Yeah.
when putting a tika, you think you become a Hindu, and this other guy is bhasm over his body. So, what are you
Yeah.
trying to say? So, for a hardcore Hindu who would vote on the ideology of Hindutva, there is
Hmm.
already a person sitting there. So, if you
Yeah.
offer them the same thing, so whoever was voting for you also has now
Hmm.
drifted away. He came to power with the support of the Muslim, of the middle class, the Banyas, the Sikhs, but this time most of them drifted. It is only the Dalit and the scheduled caste that have stood with him. All of them
Yeah.
have drifted. So so
Exactly.
so 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 he's, honestly, personally, I feel he's as Hindu as any other this thing.
Yeah.
And more so, I mean, I always see that he's an opportunistic. He has no ideology per se.
Hmm.
Whatever suits him at that particular time,
I
he will
say the
harp
same
that
about
narrative.
Imran Khan. Actually, I
Is
say the
it?
same about Imran Khan.
Uh,
Yeah, he is an opportunist. He's a master class on opportunism.
yes. And theatrics. Funny to say,
Yeah, and
theatrics.
theatrics. Exactly. Exactly.
So,
Another thing that came to my mind was who supports Kejriwal? Like in Imran Khan's case, I'll tell you, it's urban middle class, upper middle class, urban upper middle class, young people from school, colleges and universities, especially overseas Pakistanis, from richer countries. Overseas Pakistanis in the Middle East are not that much. They're not rich. They are usual workers, labor class. The other, for example, in USA, UK, in Europe, they are comparatively rich Pakistanis, and they are pro Imran Khan, the Imran Khan supporters. The segments of religious right, they are Imran Khan supporter, and especially the rich industrialist class. They are a businessman class, the property mafia,
mm,
the real estate mafia. They are pro Imran Khan. Um, in case of Kejriwal, I see that similarity with between Imran Khan and BJP, because
yes.
so Mr. Modi, he has captured that kind of a
Yes.
uh,
Audience.
audience. So
Mm.
what is Kejriwal's case?
Kejriwal, he came, muffler man, khasta hua, poor aadmi, aam aadmi. He never projected himself as, a world leader, or,
Hmm,
who was banking on the Indian diaspora or the corporate. He said,
hmm,
मैं तो गरीब आदमी हूँ. मैं तो आपके चंदे से election लड़ूंगा. You fund my election. That's how he started. So, and that's what people liked him for. Because, in
hmm,
India, we are tired of the VVIP culture, the VVIP kind of politics. Look at Rahul Gandhi today.
hmm,
He should have been a Badshah, but he is moving around and projecting himself that I am an Aam Aadmi, wearing a t-shirt, going around in chappal, or going around on the streets, eating with
hmm.
every kind of people,
Yeah,
engaging
eating,
with the coolies at the railway,
yeah.
or wherever. So he is trying to project himself as an Aam Aadmi, because
Hmm,
India is tired of the VVIP culture in politics, and that
hmm,
is how
hmm,
Kejriwal built himself upon. He said that
hmm,
I am a common man, and this narrative sold very well. Even the business community, largely, Delhi has four kinds of voters. There are Muslims, there are Sikhs, the Punjabis, who you call, there are Banyas, the business community, and then there is the
hmm,
scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. So it clicked with almost everyone. In the previous two elections, when I was this time also, when I was went around when campaigning was happening, that's the sense I got. People who
hmm,
had voted for him on the previous two elections,
hmm,
he's the man who will bring a change. He's a com he was he's a man amongst us, and that's,
hmm,
but this time they said no. अब वो बात नहीं है. It's not the same anymore. So
hmm,
that, so again, so he, if had he, maintained that aura of really being a aam admi and a poor person, any commoner, probably people would have still empathized with him. But he has, become a man living in Sheesh Mahal, spending 40 crores on
hmm,
on his house. So all that, has not gone down well with the people of Delhi. So his whole idea of being armed,
hmm.
the general mass, just faded away. Had he been general, he would have probably been better.
Yeah. And then we come to the strategies, the campaigning, the strategies, relationship, especially the relationship with media, as you indicated about Kejriwal. But if I contrast it with Imran Khan, so Imran Khan has rode on the media. Media has been pro Imran Khan to a great extent since the beginning. Imran Khan was a star. He was star of the
Mm.
hearts. He was a heartthrob even before he entered politics. And he built on his celebrity status. And media, especially the young people, all of us, we were like Imran Khan fans as a cricketer. And then he started this Shaukat Khanum Memorial Cancer Hospital. We became his, fundraisers. And we were like, I was very young at that time. Myself and my brothers, we used to stand with the boxes of, we used to, gather chanda for Imran Khan's
Wow.
cancer hospital. And we were like, we wanted to, there was a race among young people who gets more money for Imran Khan. And we would just, in the evening, we would, uh, you know, uh, 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 give that money to there were fundraising centers in different parts of the city. So there was this whole exercise, and so we young people, we then went to so many different fields in our practical lives. And we went to media. Some of us went to become lawyers, teachers, professors, so many different fields. So everywhere, Imran Khan supporters, you would find Imran Khan supporters. And this is how Imran Khan was a big thing even before becoming politician. Once he became politician, many of us became his workers. Not me and my brothers, yes, not me, because I didn't agree with his religious rhetoric, and he sort of used this rhetoric even from the beginning, and the hyper nationalism and everything. So we were not. I was not in that. But a lot of people were. So he rode on that celebrity status, and many media people in media, active journalists, they were his fans already. But once he came to power, he very carefully chose who he wanted to give access. So there was this group in the media, and there was this group in YouTubers and influencers who had access. The rest of us were completely shut down. We did not have any access. We had no information. There was just this group of journalists who were with him. And then he did another thing. Even before coming to power, his jalsas, his rallies, political rallies, would be covered by PTI's own cameras. No cameras were allowed. There were no drones were allowed there.
Mm.
No one could. They would control the video feed even. So they would release the video feed to all the channels. So there was this very careful media management since the beginning, and it got intensified when he became prime minister. It still is. To some extent, he became a YouTuber himself. He would
Yes.
release his own video, his vlog. I call it vlog kind of thing. He every evening he would just sit in front of the camera, and it was live, webcast. What in the case of Kejriwal, we don't see that much media management. What do you say?
Because our Man Ki Baat is done by our Prime Minister, no? He does
Yeah,
this Man
yeah,
Ki Baat
yeah,
every month. So
yeah.
what you are saying for Imran Khan happens here with our center,
With
our
Prime
Prime
Minister
Minister.
Modi, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
everything very similar, almost
Mm,
the same. A set of chosen journalists, a set of chosen YouTubers. Others have a difficult time even to operate in their own spheres. You
yeah.
look at few people who've left mainstream and have started their own channels because they couldn't
Mm,
survive in the system. But for Kejriwal, and Indian media works very differently. It is a separate, line of discussion altogether, how Indian media works. And I have seen it changed so drastically in this 20 years that when I joined, and the way it functions now. What we are taught in college is absolutely different from how things function, and then how things have changed. And Kejriwal was really liked by media till the time he became the chief minister. And of course, then everything was, and the moment Modi came into the picture, everything was controlled from the BJP side or from the RSS side. So for a very short time, Kejriwal did get, when he was doing the India and corruption, Kejriwal was the headline every day.
mm,
I was in the newspaper, and three of us would cover India, be there on the spot, because you don't know what will happen, who will do say what's happening on the ground, what are people doing around. It was
mm,
so much of action, as if it is a moment that we have also lived through, and likewise, so many of us started associating ourselves with him. Brother Zabardast hai, again the change, you look for a change because you're tired of that, politics that you've been seeing. And that is why people were there, because I remember there were people from the corporate sector, from the IT sector, who would leave jobs and come there for 2 hours, 3 hours, just because they wanted to hear him what he's saying. Everyone was looking for that change. I remember having done a story that, why would people leave their offices and come or take a half day and stand there to support, keep a half day fast? Because everyone was, it was like a mesmerizing thing, like it was like something in the air. Everyone
mm,
was like feeling the same, no, no, some magic is going to happen, because
mm,
it was an alternate that we were hoping we would get, because
mm,
two parties, and though there was 30 years back we had a Janata Party which came, but again it had its own face. So there were in this 30 years that the generation like ours had not seen a change. There was Congress and there was a BJP. So everybody was quite excited about this new change, and that's when media also supported. But
mm,
once he became the chief minister and his attitude towards the press changed, and of course then everything is very well managed and orchestrated by the BJP. So once
mm,
Modi came into power, and so everything, the shift suddenly, moved. And just
mm,
as you said, how things were managed with by Imran Khan, similar
mm,
kind of management took place in the BJP. So even today, rallies of what Congress says would could go as a half page or a two column somewhere inside, but what the prime minister would say or what the BJP would say would go in the
mm,
front page. So we have seen it in successive election campaigns, in
mm,
successive. That's how media coverage is, whether it is on TV or whether it is in print.
mm. So before we go to their downfall, just one more question when they were, their performance in office and their governance. So in case of Imran Khan, his I mean, one um, he was considered authoritarian. There were allegations of authoritarianism, despite the fact that a lot of media people would say, "Oh, he is a very go-to kind of a prime minister," because there was this journalists were the coterie, Imran Khan's coterie, and then he over relied on his social media team. Very effective team, very effective social media strategy. Anyone who criticizes Imran Khan gets trolled, humiliated,
Hmm.
insulted, and shut down and cancelled on social media. So people started getting scared of criticizing Imran Khan, really. So there was just few thick-skinned people like us who used to do that. And we were trolled, we were abused, humiliated, like they would treat us like subhumans, not even humans, completely dehumanized us. And he was, but still, there were people who said that he's kind of an authoritarian figure. His leadership his style is authoritarian style. The promises he did not keep his promises, like you have said about Kejriwal as well. There was it was and it was very difficult for him to expand his governance beyond his stronghold in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Even in Punjab, there was his government, but his party's government, but he put a corrupt, an insignificant, docile person as the chief minister there, and there were only corruption stories that his legacy is now there. So in that, I mean, you have spoken quite a bit about that, but do you find any positives in Kejriwal's governance, or it's exactly similar to Imran Khan and authoritarian as well?
Imran Khan Saab is a very good match of, rise like Kejriwal and then rule like Mr. Modi.
Yeah, yeah.
so, so much in common. The
I
way
always
he
call him an amalgamation of Kejriwal and Modi.
he sounds like one. Because my understanding is whatever I have read, but as you say, he sounds like one. So to
Hmm.
Kejriwal's credit, again, you could the schools and the hospitals that the mohalla clinics to say that he built. He's not left any legacy. He's equally marred with scams like any other political party, or no same kind. He could not clean the Yamuna. There was money to clean the river. You see how bad it is. A basic thing. Small things he promised. I'll put Wi-Fi. The whole city will become Wi-Fi. There's not a single zone. Very things that could have been done with very little money in a very little time. So none of his promises were kept. Only, yeah, freebies. You give me I will give you bijli, I will give you pani, I will give you subsidy. This election also, it was a very strange election that we saw. It was it was not an election of a welfare state. We had an election of a charitable state. I will give you bijli, I will give you pani, I will give you 2100 rupees every month. BJP is saying, oh, he's giving you 2100 rupees, I will give you 2500. I will give you free cylinder. So this is a level where our politics has reached. Nobody is talking about in a city like Delhi where development, infrastructure, employment generation were things. We are busy manufacturing poor, or who can give more khairat. You will give this much. So that's the level where our politics has reached. So if really Kejriwal had something promising to offer, he should have, or something to really say that I have done this for you. There was nothing. All he had was to complain and crib. The center didn't allow me to do this. The LG is not cooperating with me. They are stalling me. They are not letting me pass on the benefit to you. I am your brother. I am your son. It doesn't, you cannot go on saying that if the son will also be abandoned by the father if he's, he keeps just saying this and not delivering. So nobody would buy it. So to say that he has done anything significant, if he had, he would have said it himself, and people
Yeah.
would have, given him that mandate.
Yeah. The only thing, either he was able to fool the people of Delhi to get the second time elected, or he done something that appealed to masses to give him power for the second time. In case of Imran Khan, we don't see anything, zero, really.
Here, too, that's what, had he probably been given one more term, or, complete his term, probably he would also have been exposed. And here,
Hmm.
it takes anti-incumbency to set in. 5 years is
Hmm.
not a long time for anti-incumbency to set in. And this time, BJP also, put all its energy. Of course, it was their time. Had they not done it now, they would have never been able to do it. They
Yeah.
are in the center. They have all the money on this planet. They call leaders from all over the country to campaign for themselves. For them, the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh, his state is in a mess. There is a stampede in Prayagraj, and he's campaigning in Delhi, saying that his double engine sarkar is doing excellent, in his state. So that nobody asks these questions. Why wasn't, when Yogi was campaigning in Delhi, there was a stampede in Prayagraj, and there were people, struggling to find bodies of the dead, but he's campaigning and nobody questions. That's how media works. No, you don't ask the question that you should be asking. Happily covering his rally, doing stories, getting bylines. That's how we have. So it's more to do with us also. I always say, and if we, they asked us to bend, we have, crawled. We begin
Yeah.
to crawl. So that's how it is. For all
On
of,
the other hand, yeah.
whether it is your part or my part, we're
Yeah.
all the same. But nothing to show that we can say that, oh, this is one thing that Kejriwal gave to us.
Yeah. It's almost the same with Imran Khan. You know, when he was in 2014, there was his long dharna was going on. And towards the end of it, there was this big thing in Army Public School in which 150 innocent children were butchered
Mhm.
by Taliban, by the terrorists. And Imran Khan was not ready to call off his dharna. It took a lot of effort by the generals to get him to convince him to do that. He took 2 days to visit Peshawar's APS, and the day when he went there, he was not speaking. I mean, he just spoke one sentence about the APS, and then he started his the anti-corruption and the that dhandli in elections, election rigging, his rhetoric that he used to
Hmm.
say every evening from the big container from his dharna. He said the same things even from on that somber occasion. So there I see an eerie, uncanny similarity between the two heartless opportunists in most unfortunate
Hmm.
situations as well. But
Not even the basic courtesy. This is basic
yeah,
courtesy that one can extend. But unfortunate is everything is every again very opportunistic. Politics is not no ideology. You're not a leftist. You're not a
no,
rightist. You're only opportunistic. Wherever
yeah.
you get the chance, you use it.
But in Imran Khan's case, his supporters still loved him. They were not,
Hmm.
it was us who were disgusted by this attitude. They would still defend him. He is so lucky. I don't know, he's lucky or he has managed to do it to get this, but his support base is so committed. They are so blindly in love with him. They worship him. In case of Imran Khan, it's a cult. It's the most powerful cult after Jinnah and after Bhutto. This is the, in our living, and, we are living and breathing in this world. And I can say we haven't seen this kind of a strong cult, powerful. He says he will tell them to go kill themselves, they will do that. I mean,
Imagine.
uh, so he's quite a, committed following he has. I doubt if
Yeah, our
Kejriwal
Mr. Modi has bhakts, Modi has this kind
yeah.
of bhakts. But in case of Kejriwal, there are people like Prashant Bhushan and Yogendra Yadav who joined him initially, and but very soon, because from being a civil society movement, it became
Hmm.
a one-man party. So
Hmm.
anyone who had a voice or was genuinely coming from the civil society and was hoping for a change, Admiral Ramdas, these were people who joined, or they were journalists who quit jobs and joined his party. They were
Yeah.
soon, within a few months, they were either expelled from the party for anti-party activity, or they were themselves so frustrated with the way he worked, because they were hoping that because Kejriwal started behaving like any other politician. So
Yeah,
so
it's
when
the
and
same. It's almost the
so they
same with
were,
Imran
yes,
Khan.
yes. Because Imran Khan is quite an interesting mix
Yeah.
of Mr. Kejriwal turned Mr. Modi.
Mr. Modi. So you were talking about Yogendra Yadav and others who left the party. In case of Imran Khan, he was the one who most of his colleagues from the founding days, uh, they were expelled by Imran Khan.
That's why
Even
Yogendra Yadav was expelled and Prashant Bhushan was also expelled for anti-party activities. There is
oh,
no space for dissent. You
yeah, there's no
cannot dis
absolutely no space for dissent. One
yes.
of the co-founders of Imran Khan's party, PTI, he just won a battle, legal battle. He went into legal battle with Imran Khan for corruption in the party funds, and he had to, for like 15 years, he was. He went post to pillar, but he did not leave it alone. He just saw it to end. Imran Khan has he left his most of his most committed comrades when he got power. One of them was Naimul Haq, although he never said anything publicly against him, or he never expelled him from party, officially. But Naimul Haq was his friend from the founding days, and very close to him. But he died alone. Imran Khan didn't even go to see him when he was
Yes.
diagnosed with cancer. So, yeah, this is a very cruel game. Power
Yeah,
politics.
at this election, I realized there is no ideology. The Aam Aadmi Party, no Aam. Everybody
Yeah,
who didn't find a place in the BJP or the Congress, it's just about you getting a ticket, you want to
yeah.
contest and win. So whosoever is wants to jump into the bandwagon, welcome. You want to
Mm.
leave, happily go out. So there's nothing
Yeah.
to do with So when the core team has left, Kiran Bedi, Yogendra Yadav, Prashant Bhushan, there was Kumar Vishwas, there was a journalist called Ashutosh. I think so many people. So when you
Yeah.
let them go, then it is like any other, whoever wants to come in, it's just about winning. You
Mm.
can bring the seats, you can get votes, happy. So
Yeah.
that's how it was. And so it is sad, all of us hope that there's an alternate to the regular political class, but unfortunately we kind of missed
Yeah.
this time.
So was lastly, finally, their downfall. So in case of both of these men, they were used, and probably they knew they were being used. So were they so dim that they couldn't understand that if they are being used, they will be discarded also? Didn't they prepare for that? Seems they didn't. What do you say?
No. Kejriwal, that's what we were saying. He wrote a letter to RSS recently,
Mm-hmm.
extending support. It's the RSS that has abandoned him. They will
Yeah,
hold his hand. He will happily go back. I mean, he's
yeah,
been
yeah. But
asking,
what
okay,
I'm
why
saying,
have?
Yeah, what I'm saying is that they are both smart men. I mean, in terms of, of course, Imran Khan became prime minister of this difficult country, and he held on to his struggle for like more than 25 years. So he's not as dim as we think he is. Same is with Kejriwal. They're not dim. So why couldn't they see that they were being used and they will be discarded?
I see again the same thing. It's an opportunity. Let's
Mm,
take it for now. Abhi jo mil raha hai, let me take it. So probably
mm,
Kejriwal would have thought it like that. But had he, Kejriwal, you've taken an opportunity, build upon it. I think he
mm,
failed to build upon it.
mm,
You were a chief minister of a state like Delhi. बहुत सारा पैसा है. You had Punjab. So you
yeah.
build upon that opportunity. Take that and build your own card. It takes time. RSS 100 years to be what they are today. So it takes time to, and you knew, and it's not that you were abandoned today. In 2012, 13, you got to know that they are no more holding your hand. So that is
Mm,
why you take this soft Hindutva stand. You
yeah.
suddenly shift your position because you somewhere want to keep them happy. And time and again, you have been trying to prove that you are as Hindu as anybody else. But then,
True.
so it's it. I think sometimes you have to realize that it's not going to work, and you need to make your own plan. So that's when you kind of keep clinging on to that hope that it'll work for you, but it has not. You've not done your homework well, probably. So this is
Mm,
where you land today.
mm, yeah. So, lastly, final question. Is there no, after this failure, dismal failure of this experiment with the so-called alternative politics, what now? Will they, do you see them, or at least Kejriwal, coming back, emerging again? Or will it signify the death of the alternative politics forever?
It's a very, critical question, difficult question to answer. Alternate politics, it's more to do with the kind of democracy that we live in. Like
Mm,
Kejriwal has 43% vote, but 22 seats. Modi has only 45% vote,
yeah.
just a margin of 3%, but he
Mm,
forms the government. So where we are in this first past the post.
mm,
So obviously the whole game, the whole planning changes from there. And how difficult it is to contest an election. A candidate needs at least half a million rupees to contest a seat. So where do you get that much money from? If you have
mm,
200 candidates, you need that much money for 200 candidates. So ultimately, who has big pockets would only come to contest the election. And once he is in power, he spends so much money. Now he has
yeah,
to milch that money so that he can contest the next election. So there is
true.
this need of an electoral reform to
Mm,
have an alternate, and honestly, Kejriwal was accepted and welcomed in India. It's very strange. Delhi would always vote for BJP in the center, but it
mm,
gave Kejriwal 10 years in the
yeah,
state.
yeah.
So it was not that
Those
people
kind
weren't
of,
looking. Yes.
yeah.
So and the municipality again in Delhi has the Aam Aadmi Party government now. So it's
Mm,
not that people look for, because people were tired of the way BJP worked in the city or the Congress. They were looking for a change. And Delhi is a very progressive state. It's an upper caste. It's an upper class
mm,
educated state where people are
mm,
more politically conscious and aware vis-a-vis other metros also. I've lived in Bombay. I've lived in Calcutta. Delhi
mm,
people talk politics differently. Bombay people look at Bombay is more Bollywood. Delhi is very political. Even an
mm,
auto wala in Delhi, you sit in, he will have some political opinion. A taxi guy will have some political opinion. Everyone is opinionated. This is full of people from East, Bihar, Purvanchal, who are who breathe politics. So Delhi is a very, that way, very conscious, politically conscious state. So when this politically conscious state looked at this alternate and gave it a try. So it was a ray of hope for change. All this while we had been a bipolar state, BJP Congress, BJP Congress. The first time we had an alternate, and we have been ditched. So probably it took 30 years from Janata Dal to the Aam Aadmi Party. So
mm,
maybe our kids or kids would see this change, or there are
yeah.
these electoral reforms. And Election Commission of India says assembly election 40 lakh rupees. A prime minister, when he does a public meeting, it costs you about 15 to 20 crores. These are some figures that have come. So how does one will contest an election in 40 lakh rupees?
Yeah.
So things have to be more realistic and more practical. इतने में तो शादियां होती हैं इस country.
Mm.
That is the amount of money people will spend on one wedding. You are saying to, hold one assembly election in that much money, not possible. So,
Mm.
practical, genuine, democratic reforms need to be put to place, so that, this alternate can flourish, and, there are fresh, better avenues for new
Yeah.
people also to really enter into it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Unfortunately, we have to leave it there, but it has been a great, great discussion, Rohini. The
It was so
right,
much learning for me also, to know a little. My understanding was limited, but whatever you've told was quite an interesting thing to learn about Imran Khan.
yeah, and we can continue discussion on other occasions on this topic, and emanating from this are so many other topics that we can
Yes,
can
definitely.
discuss. So we are coming to the end of the show. The rise and fall of AAP and the crackdown on PTI remind us of an uncomfortable truth. Politics is rarely about ideals. Uh, it's uh, it's about navigating power, alliances, and institutional forces. As our guest has discussed at length, both Kejriwal and Imran Khan challenged the system, but in the end, the system fought back harder. And maybe they did not challenge the system so hard. Maybe they did not mean it, because we have discussed both of them had the tinge of opportunism. Does this mean that the real change is impossible, or are we simply in the middle of a larger political cycle where new challenges will emerge once again? And these are the questions that we must continue to ask. And that's why independent media is crucial, because in today's polarized world where propaganda, misinformation, disinformation, they masquerade as journalism, we need spaces for critical, unfiltered discussions like this one. If you found this discussion thought provoking and informative, show your support for independent media by subscribing to New Wave Global. Your engagement helps ensure that real conversations continue to reach wider audiences. And we want to hear from you. What do you think about ARP's future? Have you any comment about our discussion today? Can alternative politics survive in South Asia, in subcontinent, in India, in Pakistan? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your feedback will be included in our upcoming weekly discussion show. Until next time, stay informed, stay questioning. Have a good day.